So now it's like the universe was showing me how it happens on a daily. And on a daily, it's like just saying yes to myself in the moment by moment by moment. So it's like freeing up my energy bit by bit as I integrate and embody.
It's interesting because what occurs to me as you're sharing
Mm-hmm.
is my interest has been in the universal essence.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I never even really thought about my personal essence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's I've always been seeking the essence, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so this is interesting. Uh, and it's there. My essence is there.
Is there like there's
Yeah.
the Jayanness of Jayan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just looking at my WhatsApp yesterday just to go
Mm-hmm.
on a tangent,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know how, but I came across online
Mm-hmm.
someone's business, a publishing business, printing business.
Yes.
It was called Jayan Printing, and the guy's name was like, you know, George Bugwa or something. So I
Interesting.
actually reached out to him and saying, "What? Why is your business called Jayan Pub Printing?"
Mm-hmm.
And he gave the greatest answer.
He said.
It is the name of my business. I
Wow.
kind of it after that because there's not, I didn't have an intention of, oh, my name or anything, but I was just really curious how my
Yeah.
name, because it's not a general, it's not a very common name.
Yeah.
There's a variant with a T or a TI, which is much more common.
Mm.
So it's like the universe said, mind your own business. Okay.
Yeah. That's the business. That's the business. Minding your business is the business.
But it's interesting, and as I'm considering my own personal essence, it's like uh, I'm encountering a resistance to look at it or consider it. It's like I'm not worth considering or something like that.
Mm, mm.
It's really interesting. Yeah.
And you
So this
can
could
see
be,
how it affects
yeah,
everything. Like it makes sense because if imagine if that is where you're not looking at your unique essence, then you can see what that means for the rest, like for your life.
because it occurs like a form of self-love,
Yeah.
which takes me on to my next point.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to a show once,
Mm-hmm.
and the question was something like, "Why do I find it difficult to love myself?" or "How do I love myself?" And he answered that actually yourself is not worthy of love,
Mm-hmm.
because uh, you're opinionated, you're prejudiced, etc., etc., etc. If you actually look at your personality, there's
Mm.
nothing that deserves love, so to speak. So forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, the other side of the teachings that I come across seem to talk about loving myself the way I am, warts and all. So
Yeah.
there's kind of a conflict in those two. Uh, Not that Osho, I think, really believed in anything he said anyway, but it's kind of interesting that, do we really seek to really love the parts of ourselves which are not nice? Or do we just say, well, that's the personality and we sit in universal love and it's going to do what it does? Do you get the question?
I do, because actually that is what has been happening to me the last few days of this week. It's been getting to that place of understanding that for you to actually love yourself, Loving yourself is, how do I say it? You cannot love yourself if you do not know yourself. You cannot love yourself. You cannot trust yourself if you do not love yourself. And one of the things about trust that was downloaded to me, like I got a transmission. I was literally woken up at 2 a.m. in the morning to get this transmission. And it was that the reason why we don't step in fully into who we really are, it's because we don't trust ourselves. And we don't trust ourselves because we are judging ourselves. We think that there's something wrong with us. And the transmission led me all the way to the Garden of Eden. When they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that's when they started to hide. That's when the shame kicked in, the guilt kicked in, and they were hiding from God. So it's like in our fallen state, we are hiding from God because we feel like there's something wrong with us, because suddenly we are making judgments about how we are. We've been like this all along. It's like Adam and Eve were naked all along, but suddenly they've made a judgment. Oh, we are not supposed to be naked. So there's something wrong with us. And then they're hiding. So I looked at my life and I was like, the only reason why I do not express some aspects of myself, it's because I'm afraid that I will go against the highest authority. Like I will cross the highest authority, and then what will happen to me? I'll be annihilated. And I was like, wow. And how can we come to that place of accepting ourselves fully? Because that's the journey. And that's what the connection was being shown, the connection between personal development and spirituality. Because personal development is about self-love, self-acceptance, self-introspection, self-inquiry, self-analysis. And spirituality is about connection, surrender, and service to the divine. And I saw that you can never connect with the divine if you have not come to acceptance of yourself. Because you're always going to be feeling unworthy to have that relationship. And then, unfortunately, if you don't have that relationship with the divine, you will never get the full revelation of who you truly are. So that's like the connection. So what I'm saying is that this personality that has all these good and bad qualities is a personality we must go through. It's like it's the smoke screen. It's the facade that we must pierce through so that we can get the revelation of who we are. And so we must love all our aspects. And for me, that's what's been happening. It's like some aspects of me are coming up, and I'm like, oh my God. There's a way you can see yourself and be like, oh God, I never knew I'm like this. I've never seen myself like this. But then you have to see that, be that, and allow and accept that, because that is the truth. Whatever you see about yourself is the truth about you. Loving doesn't necessarily mean that you're like, oh yeah, I love you. It's really just acceptance without resistance, accepting that this is who I am. And it does not reduce my worth and my value, because now you can see this is a personality. It was shaped by genes, by karma, by experience, by society, conditioning, trauma, but it's not who you are, you know? So that's been the kind of shadow work that I've been doing. And it's the hardest work that I've ever had to do. Because, in fact, I was telling my friend, it's like, it's really, really like facing the demons, like for real. Because you can feel it in your system, you can feel it in your body. And I was telling them it feels like judgment day. Because it's like you face all the judgments you've ever made about yourself in your body as an embodied experience. And I saw the point of why everyone runs away from themselves, because it's not easy to face yourself, you know?
And to accept yourself the way you are.
Yeah. So that's the first step. Accepting yourself is the, not even accepting, seeing yourself is the first step, because that's why our mind creates projections and distractions and obstructions and all these things, so that you don't see that that is you. You project and think that is the other person. The mind knows that it's heavy duty work. That's why it has that mechanism of deflection and projection. So that's the hardest part. And I think that's why the Bible was so much about the blind shall see, the blind shall see, the blind shall see. It's a big deal. Seeing is a big deal. And then the next deal is accepting unconditionally.
Let me ask you about the end of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that we end up being the way we are, warts and all, good, bad, and ugly? Or
Mm-hmm.
once we do see ourselves, accept ourselves, love ourselves, trust ourselves, do we become perfected? Do we become good? Do
We
you know what I'm
become
saying?
perfected, but perfected is not what we think. We think perfected is
Yeah,
being all good.
it's like
But,
we think we're
hmm,
supposed to become a saint, you know?
yes, and we think
But
a
that's not
saint
the end,
is,
what you're saying.
we also have a different, we think a saint is someone who has no negative qualities. That's not true. A
Yeah.
saint and being perfected is being surrendered. It's like you suddenly just allow yourself to be exactly the way you're meant to be in every moment. And so you become surrendered. And when you become surrendered, the way you are made with every of your quality becomes useful for the divine to use in whatever way the divine wants to use you. So that is what being perfected is being surrendered, being empty.
So that we don't actually become good the way that we label good, that
Yeah.
was always patient and loving and
Yeah.
kind, blah blah blah, all of that.
Yeah, and
Because
that comes from an idea of not accepting. It's like even the idea that we are going to be perfected and be good and all nice, it's because we do not want to accept who we truly are. We still want those parts removed and cleaned and washed.
and if you look at it, what's occurring to me is this definition of good that we hold up as the highest, excuse me, as the highest way of being, which we're supposed to aim towards, and the journey is to become good. Isn't it actually just what we think other people want us to be?
Exactly. Exactly. And it's a denial of what is, because what is, and our duty is to accept it as it is, not to project the idea of what it should be and try to make it that. It's to simply accept. And which means you have to let go of all your judgments, all your ideas, and that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to let go of our ideas, our beliefs. We don't want to do that.
So can we go into a specific?
Mm-hmm.
For example, if I find I'm a liar and I
Mm-hmm.
lie,
Yeah.
first of all, what do I do about my history of lying in terms of Do I just accept I've lied, I'm a liar? Do I have to clean up with other people? And then do I stop lying? Do I accept myself lying? Do I say lying is part of my purpose in life? That is how God is using me, being good and bad. Do you get the question?
Yes, I get the question. And I would start by, let's start from there.
Yeah.
You have just discovered that you're a liar, or you've just had that conversation with yourself.
Or I've admitted to myself.
You have admitted
What
to
I knew
yourself.
all along.
Exactly. You knew all along. You just didn't
Yeah.
want to, you know, you are lying to yourself.
Or I've accepted I'm never going to change. I'm always going to be a liar unless God intervenes. Something like
Even
that.
before we get there, just this
Yeah.
admission that you're a liar, you start from sitting with it. How does it feel in your body? Do you feel like you're trying to remove yourself from it, making excuses? Um, how does it feel in your system? That's where you start. Like, how does it feel? Are you trying to not be a liar, or are you trying to justify yourself? So you observe that experience. That's number one, right?
Yeah.
The second step is that you allow yourself to be that. You know, the way you're feeling about it, just allow yourself. Allow that to be okay.
Yeah.
Allow that to be okay. Your reaction to that is fine, is okay. And then just something just evolves from there. You know, this is not a process you can, it's not like a recipe that, you know, if you add this and this will be the outcome at the end. You're just going with the present moment. And what happens is when you commit to that process, something happens and something shifts. And the most important thing that shifts is your perception of yourself.
So what you're saying is when I actually allow myself to be authentic or fully authentic,
Yeah,
that opens a space for something to happen, maybe
some
transformation.
exactly.
When I resist and saying, no, I can't admit I'm a liar, even to myself,
Yes,
much less to anyone else,
yes.
that stopped all movement. And it's coming from a fear that
Mm,
if I do, then this, which is all fiction.
exactly. It's
And
fiction. All of it
and
is
it's keeping
fiction.
me trapped, really, in a way.
Yeah, and you've tied up your energy. So there's your life force that is tied with that lie, with that dishonesty with yourself. There's some energy that you cannot use in your endeavors, in your mission, because it's tied holding that reality in place.
And what's interesting is that it is an invitation to go off the path of what I know or
Exactly.
imagine,
Yeah.
because I have the scenario all planned out, that if I do this, then if I open to the I'm a liar, number one, I'm giving up trying to change from
Mm,
being a liar to being a liar. That's
mm.
one.
Yes.
Two, can I even think of admitting it to anyone else brazenly, openly? I mean, that's a bunch of shame. And then will I have any friends? Will anyone like me?
Exactly.
Do I even like myself even before then?
Mm,
And does it work? How,
mm.
how does that fit into the working of blah, blah, blah? All these things I know,
Yes.
which keep me from going because I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is actually open
Open your
and
heart to yourself. Like you don't know what's gonna happen. And real transformation happens from the heart, not from the mind. The mind cannot lead you to any transformation because it's the one that's supposed to transform. And how you transform your mind is through your heart. You must be willing to go where you're afraid of going, admitting to yourself the stuff that you're afraid of admitting, but you can see this is the truth. That's why they say the truth sets you free. It sets the energy, your soul essence free.